Hey guys, blah 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 dee da ding dong ding. Hey guys, Michael from Gredio, and now that we've gone through a couple of episodes on how to price your food product and getting to the right margins and price on the shelf, we haven't looked at freight yet. So a lot of you may be thinking, well, what do I price my product at if I ship product to a couple states away, or if I ship to another customer, or if we ship to a distributor? What does that look like with pricing? So that's what this day's class is going to look like. So scenario is that it's time to ship your first order. And if you're shipping to a retailer, let's just say the unit cost is $3. You have a case cost of 12 units, so there's $36 total. Minimum order is 48 units or 4 cases, so it's $144. Then you tack on shipping, so you have a total cost of $162 to ship the order to a customer, let's say in Massachusetts. So your total cost per unit to the retailer goes from $3 to $3.38. So what you initially planned for in the last class is going to be a little bit higher. So you were working just off of unit cost. You weren't impacting freight. The freight's an additional cost that you tack on. So now you've got $3.38 a unit. So let's see how that impacts your price. And you'll see here we compare two scenarios with 40% margins and 50% margins, and how the retail price and MSRP changes. So when you were selling for $3 at a 40% margin, you're able to get it on the shelf at $4.99. When that increases to $3.38 at a 40% margin, you go up to $5.69. And this is a very similar problem that I was in with mustard. Was we had jumped our rates up, and we had some stores at $4.99, some at $5.69, some at above $6, and we had to bring either the shipping down or our wholesale unit costs down a little bit so that the shipping would make up for not as big of a price gap. Because once you enter the $5.69 area, you really want to get back down to $4.99 because you psychologically have a whole dollar and it looks a little bit cheaper. Now, if you take the 50% margin in the second example on the bottom, that 38 cent increases almost $1 on the shelf for the new MSRP. So even though a store locally, maybe 15 minutes away, is selling it for $5.99, you could have a store 50 to 100 miles away selling it for $1 more, because they have to incorporate the freight costs into their total unit price. Now we're going to look at shipping to a distributor. You've got a case cost of $25.20. There's 150 cases on a pallet. Freight is $300. And your distributor cost now becomes in total $4,080. And your unit cost to the distributor is $227. So you've got regular pricing at $210 to the distributor. To the retailer, 40% is $3, and to the customer is $5, as we talked about on the last few slides. That's just regular. That's no freight. So the pricing with freight, you're at $227 to a distributor, and that increases the price eventually to the customer to $5.40, which will probably go up to $5.49 MSRP. And again, your freight charges can fluctuate. We're just using one example with just rough numbers pulled from the air, and the pricing may vary greatly. For example, we have retailers in New England, and they're adding 30 to 50 cents to their wholesale costs. But then we have retailers in the southern part of the U.S. and on the West Coast that are adding up to $1, maybe $1.25 under a wholesale cost. So our products out there are reaching the $7, $8, $9 mark, all because of the added cost of freight. So how do you solve the shipping problem? Because it affects so many of your retailers. Well, one way is to offer the delivered price. So you could say, well, my wholesale cost is $3.50, but delivered, our cost per unit is $4. So that way the retailer doesn't quite know where the shipping falls, and they just look at one line item on your invoice and say, all right, it's $4 a unit. You could also have the customer pay for shipping. Now, with that being said, you have to outlay the money to ship the product and then wait your net 30 days to get the money back. Not necessarily a downside, but it could set you back a couple $100s a month. You could also use freight brokers to get better pricing. A freight broker is basically what a food broker is. The only difference is that they're brokering freight across the country. Some do small parcel shipments, just like UPS and FedEx and the Postal Service. Others are LTL, which is less than truckload freight, and then others are full truckload freight. You basically call them up, you say, I've got to get product from A to B, find me the best price. Oftentimes, you can get better pricing using a freight broker. And you can also get discounts through the USPS and FedEx. USPS, print all your labels online. It saves, I think, something like 10 to 15%. And then FedEx, if you actually are a member of the Specialty Food Association, that's the national organization. If you join, they have partnered with a company called Partnership, and you can get 20% off all shipments done through FedEx, which is super awesome. It's the only freight broker we ship through is FedEx. Now, next up, we're going to look at how promotions positively impact your pricing strategy, even though you might take a hit on your margins. See you then.